welcome back. It's Money Monday on Liquid Lunch. I'm John Tobacco, and we are continuing today to start your week with wall-to-wall impeachment coverage. We're talking about it as much as we can because it's actually a joke. And joining me is Frank Morano, who's been following. Not quite as funny as Saturday Night Live this weekend, which was actually pretty good.
The only portion of the show that I saw was the portion that we just played.
The spicy meatball. And we just happen to have the spicy meatballs on set today.
That's right. Well, speaking of impeachment, Nancy Pelosi, in essence, said over the weekend, we played a portion of the clip before, that if Donald Trump wants to come testify, he's more than welcome to. Not surprisingly, Donald Trump went to his favorite of all outlets to give his opinion on this, Twitter, and tweeted the following earlier this morning. Our crazy do-nothing, where's USMCA, infrastructure, lower drug pricing, and much more, Speaker of the House, nervous Nancy Pelosi, who is petrified by her radical left, knowing she will soon be gone, they and fake news media are her boss, suggested on Sunday's Deface the Nation, it gets better, that I testify about the phony impeachment witch hunt. She also said I could do it in writing, even though I did nothing wrong and don't like giving credibility to this no due process hoax. I like the idea and will, in order to get Congress focused again, strongly consider it. What do you think, John? Will the president end up testifying?
I don't think he'll wind up testifying. I wonder this, but, you know, everyone keeps focusing in on, oh, he wanted an investigation of Hunter Biden, he wanted an investigation of Burisma. Well, was that legit, or was he going after a political enemy? I don't think he was going after a political enemy. I think he wanted to know why the former vice president of the United States of America, who was in charge of our Ukraine policy, why his son was put on a board of an energy company. And it sounds like, you know, the quid pro quo they're talking about, it sounds like it to me. And I don't know why, if Nancy Pelosi wants to be such a Weisenheimer and say the president should come down, being that the heart of this is an investigation into Hunter Biden, supposedly, according to the Dems, why shouldn't we hear from Hunter Biden and find out why he was on that board? What did he actually do for Burisma? Does he speak Ukrainian? Did he ever go to Ukraine? Did he live in Ukraine? Why did he and John Kerry's son, or stepson, why did they get paid $83,000 a month? And what did they do for it? I think it's a logical question. And if she wants the president to submit to answers in writing, maybe the president should ask for Hunter Biden to answer in writing.
You know what, again, I'm bored to tears with this
Me
story.
too.
I don't really have much of a desire to talk about it.
Let's talk about something else.
This goes with that, exactly what Peter Schweitzer put in that New York Times op-ed, which Biden criticized the New York Times for even running, which is that, unfortunately, what Kerry's stepson did and what Biden's son did is perfectly legal, and that's the problem. There's this glaring loophole that exists that allows relatives of prominent politicians to benefit financially while their patrons are spending all sorts of U.S. money. In some ways, it's a lot like what Tom Del Beccaro writes in that book, The Divided Era. And when you have a government that spends this much money, there's going to be some questions about how it's spent, and any edge that anybody that wants to be on the receiving end of that money wants, they'll take any edge they can get. You know, we see the same thing at the local level. It's so I've said before that I think maybe we need to look at going back to what the ancient Greeks did, a process.
That's
a process known as sortition.
What the ancient Greeks did, we probably outlawed. I think in today's society,
no. Well, sortition, which would basically, instead of having elections, you just choose the people that run the government completely at random, just like we choose juries. Juries decide guilt or innocence completely at random. They're chosen by lot. What if the Congress, what if the U.S. Senate, what if the City Council was chosen completely at random?
We'd probably have the sickest reality show you've ever seen. It would probably
could it be any worse?
It would probably be a global. No,
I don't think it
couldn't
could be any worse.
Approval ratings for Congress in the U.S. right now is at like 18%, I think, or you know, high teens. For the general opinion of the Congress is both the Democrats and the Republicans stink. Only about 20% of Americans feel like they're doing their job even. So maybe a random sampling of folks from all different walks of life, colors, creeds, sexes, identifications, LGBTQIA, all that. Everyone's eligible, and everyone gets thrown into the pot.
Exactly.
And hey, everyone, here's your Congress for the next 2 years.
And then, you know,
John Tobacco, you're the lucky winner. Come on down.
Well, don't you think that people might be more motivated to actually pay attention to what goes on in public affairs? Let's say what happens now is I say, look, and I'm not completely endorsing this, but I at least want to begin the conversation about this. Because what happens now is rank and file, ordinary Americans, too many of them think, all right, what happens in Washington, it doesn't affect me. I still have to go to work. I still have to pay my rent or my mortgage, and I still have to pay my taxes. So I don't really care what is going on in Washington. I'm not going to pay attention to it. Now, if you're going to be actually tasked with running the government, you have to pay attention.
So I have to start paying attention?
No, well, some people, there's just no hope for.
I do like a lot of thinking and a lot of strategizing as far as producing the creative content of the show, but the informational stuff, that's all him. He does all that. I don't have to focus on any of that. He just hands me this piece of paper before the show with some notes on it, and then I make believe I did all this homework. You know what I'm saying? So I have to start paying attention now?
Well, if we go to
your Socratic oath?
Sortition.
Sortition? That's what they call it?
Yes.
Sounds like somebody that works in a funeral home, a sortition.
You'll be happy to know, John.
Is that the senior mortician, the sortition?
You'll be happy to know, and so will Wall Street, that the president just had a very positive meeting with the Federal Reserve Chief, Jay
Tremendous, tremendous. And, you know, he said in his tweet, we want to get the prices of drugs down. And I've been talking to, you remember our friend Pat DeLeo from Quad M Solutions. And Joe Salvani, who we had on a couple weeks ago talking about healthcare policy. Did you know, and I know the president watches this show, one change, allowing Medicare recipients to get their drugs shipped straight to their home could cut 40 to 50% of the costs out of all the drugs we're paying for. We'll follow up on that some more. We're going to take a quick break. We're breezing through hour 2. We're going to come back right after this with more of me and my friend Frankie. You're watching Liquid Lunch. Back after this.